Hello, welcome. I'm Daphne, avatar presenter of Yellow Door. In this video, we'll explore 5 habits you need to ditch right away if you want to create a lighter, more fulfilling future. Pay attention to every detail, as each insight could be the missing piece to achieving the life you've always dreamed of. If this content resonates with you, don't forget to hit that like button because it helps us keep bringing you valuable information. Remember, transformation starts with you. People often commit to things they don't truly want. For example, someone might pretend to be enthusiastic about hosting guests, inviting others over, or embracing social gatherings, but deep down they don't really mean it. When we fake it, we're creating a false scenario, and to maintain that illusion, we have to convince both ourselves and others. That's where deception and manipulation come into play. They're inherently part of pretending. One doesn't exist without the other. If you're faking something, you need to persuade both yourself and the other person to buy into it, whether it's trying to sell a faulty product or using emotional manipulation to get something you want, like someone's company or help. You're engaging in a form of persuasion. For instance, someone might feign being sick to get a visit, playing on emotional cues. There are countless examples of this kind of manipulation. The problem with this behavior isn't just that it harms others. The real issue is the damage it does to your own psyche. When you fake a situation, even if it seems minor, you're teaching your subconscious that you're not capable of handling reality. Take the person who pretends to be working whenever the boss is around, but then wastes time when no one's watching. The boss might not even care, but the real harm is internal. The individual is teaching themselves that they only act out of obligation, never out of personal motivation or the desire for self-improvement. This constant cycle of pretending reinforces the idea that effort only matters when someone is watching. It stifles personal growth and leads to a life driven by external pressures, not intrinsic motivation. You end up doing things only when the pressure is on, like when a deadline looms or someone is holding you accountable. This mindset creates a heavy, joyless existence where self-motivation is lacking and tasks become burdens instead of opportunities for growth. Most people struggle to face reality. We see this across various aspects of life. Many individuals avoid dealing with the truth, preferring to operate in a world of illusion driven by external forces. But living in the real world requires spiritual intelligence, an active consciousness that most people haven't developed. Instead, they rely on the superficial intelligence taught by society, which encourages us to find shortcuts and manipulate our way through life. This kind of intelligence is not about reaching your full potential. It's about convincing others that you're doing your best, when in reality, you're just scraping by. This may occasionally fool others, but the real loss is personal. You become someone who relies on manipulation rather than genuine ability, and while some might pity you and offer help, you've already diminished your own potential. At the core of this manipulation is the belief that power comes from seduction and persuasion, but true power lies in creation, not seduction. When you create your own reality, others will naturally gravitate toward it if they're inspired by what you've built. However, if you don't believe in your own potential and instead focus on manipulating others, you'll end up empty. Charm and beauty only get you so far. At some point, if your inner world is hollow, no amount of external validation will fill the void. We are here to create our own worlds. Take a moment to reflect on the things you've been pretending to do for yourself, or the situations where you've pretended to agree just to avoid conflict. Consider how it feels when someone captivates you with their charm only to leave you on the sidelines. It's frustrating, isn't it? And often, these people lead chaotic lives. Don't let that be you. You might not think you engage in manipulation, but everyone learns these behaviors to some degree. Recognizing and breaking free from them is the key to living a more authentic and fulfilling life. If you're not engaging in manipulation with others because your ethics are strong, it's very likely you're doing it with yourself. Another habit you need to stop right now is comparing yourself to others. But I want you to really grasp this concept at the level I'm explaining it. When we talk about comparison, we often think it's just a mental exercise. Oh, that person is so attractive and I'm not. Or, wow, they're so successful and I'm not. We mistakenly believe comparison is harmless, that it's just a fleeting thought. Oh, it's no big deal. At worst, it'll just make me feel a bit down. But comparison goes much deeper than that. It's an energetic exchange. You're taking in that person's energy and they're absorbing yours. Like we discussed earlier about manipulation, convincing, and pretending, it teaches your subconscious that you're incapable of facing reality. That's already bad enough, right? But now we're talking about situations that will drain your energy and replace it with someone else's dense negative vibes. You might even start manifesting physical symptoms that belong to the other person. Let me give you an example. Once a follower of mine reached out during one of my individual consultations. She told me she felt like her creative and manifesting abilities were off, particularly with the law of attraction. I asked her why she thought that was happening. She said, "Because I watch your videos and you have such beautiful skin. You have the best skin I've ever seen." I started laughing because I knew where this was going. She went on, "I want skin just like yours. I've been manifesting it." And then she told me her skin had actually gotten worse, full of pimples and blackheads. Here's the reality. My skin fluctuates. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. In fact, I have my fair share of breakouts. I wear heavy makeup, sit under intense lighting, and even the video camera softens my skin with its filters. So I told her, "Congratulations, you've got my skin now." At that time, I was dealing with a lot of acne myself. This is the danger of comparison. You don't want someone else's life, their looks, or their success. You want your best version of yourself. When you start focusing on others, like admiring someone's hair as they walk by, it's not just an innocent thought. You're energetically taking something from them. And if their energy field is open and susceptible, you might absorb more than you bargained for. You don't get to pick and choose when you're stealing energy. You think you're just admiring their hair, but you're actually absorbing other things, things you don't want. And what's worse, you're also giving away your own energy. You're of themselves. So when you compare yourself, you start feeling what they feel, while they, in turn, begin to pick up on your emotions. Let me tell you another story. I was once talking to someone who had an issue with their eye, and I downplayed it, thinking, "Big deal, I've got my own set of problems." Guess what happened the next day? My eye was swollen. It was the exact issue I had dismissed the day before. This happens because comparison creates an energetic mirroring. You start reflecting the energy of the person you're focused on, and they start reflecting yours. When you're trying to embody a positive archetype, say, imagining yourself with the keen vision of an eagle, you consciously allow that energy to enter your being. But when you do this with someone you barely know, like a random person on the subway or your neighbor, you're still inviting their energy into your space. Now think about that. If embodying the archetype of an eagle or Cleopatra comes with its own set of challenges, imagine what kind of problems you're taking on from someone whose life is filled with issues you don't fully understand. You're not just borrowing their good traits, you're also taking in their shadows. So stop comparing yourself. It's not just a mental habit, it's an energetic exchange, and it's draining you. You're absorbing dense, negative energy from others while also giving away your own. Break free from this and reclaim your own power. The third thing, which also generates a lot of energetic entanglement, is something people often do because they believe it's their duty, even an art form, and that's keeping tabs on other people's lives. It's about giving unsolicited opinions and constantly monitoring others. This behavior is similar to comparison because when you scrutinize someone's life, you're resonating with them as well. With comparison, you're doing things like imagining what it would be like if that hair was yours, or if that person's partner were with you. You're placing yourself in their shoes, resonating with their life. The same thing happens when you monitor others. For example, you think, "If I were them, I'd do this." Or, "If I were in their position, I'd quit that job." Or even, "If I were making videos, I wouldn't wear that ridiculous outfit." The thought is always, "If it were me, I'd do it differently." This habit of monitoring others creates heavy negative energy, just like constantly comparing yourself does. You need to stop being the supervisor of other people's lives because at the end of the day, it's not your life. It's not you. You might ask, "So Barbara, does this mean I should stop paying attention to what's happening around me? Should I live in a bubble?" No, absolutely not. Observing, being aware, and focusing are entirely different. It's about paying attention without constantly putting yourself in other people's shoes and imagining what you'd do if you were them. Constantly doing that drains you. By the end of the day, you're exhausted. Plus, when you carry that energy, you're far more likely to attract people into your life who just want to take from you. People who are lost and looking for someone to save them, asking, "Please help me, I don't know what to do." You know those disoriented people? They'll find you because your energy says, if I were you, I'd know exactly what to do. So life sends them your way to handle. Stop keeping tabs on others' lives. That's the third thing you need to cut out. And the fourth follows the same pattern. Comparison monitoring. Both come from getting too entangled with other people's energy. Remember, we are individuals for a reason. Now let's be clear. Pity is completely different from compassion. Compassion is something else. Empathy, when it's healthy, is different too. Let's emphasize healthy empathy. It means you're aware of what the other person is going through. Look at the words we're using. Awareness, attention. You understand their pain, their suffering, their sense of helplessness, and then you figure out what's within your power to do. When we talk about what's in your power, it means something that won't destroy you in the process, because you need to be well to help someone else. If you're completely drained and broken, you can't help anyone. It's about having intelligence. Love without intelligence isn't love. It's just self-sacrifice that leads to nothing but harm. So love has to be smart. Healthy empathy and compassion are key. But pity? Pity is not. Pity comes from a place of vanity. Oh, poor so-and-so. I feel so bad for them. You start to feel your heart tighten. You start to feel crushed. Why? Because we're taught that to help others, we have to be as miserable as they are. But that's not true. As we just discussed, if you're in the same miserable state as the person you're trying to help, you're in no position to offer assistance. Yet we've been conditioned to believe that. So subconsciously, you start to feel like you must be as down as they are. You need to feel destroyed, defeated. It becomes this belief that in order to help, you must feel exactly like them. See the issue here? It's that same pattern of comparison and resonance. Comparison, bad energy. Monitoring others, bad energy. And pity or feeling sorry, same thing, bad energy. Yes, the person might genuinely be suffering and in need of help, but they could also be in that first scenario we discussed earlier, faking it, not because they're inherently bad, but because they've learned to get by with minimal effort. They've learned to do little for themselves, for life, and for others, but they know exactly how to manipulate your sympathy. They'll tug at your heartstrings saying, oh, I need your help, I have no choice. And suddenly you feel pity, but they might be more capable than they let on, and pity blinds you to that. Let's say someone asks for your help and you reply, sure, I can help you after 5 p.m. They come back with, oh no, it needs to be now. That happened to me once. Someone urgently needed to talk to me. They kept insisting, Barbara, I really need to talk to you. It's so important. My old mindset, conditioned to feel pity and sympathy, went into overdrive. Oh my God, this person is in crisis. So I dropped everything, opened the doors of my home to this person. They came over looking perfectly fine, walked around my house, curious to see the renovations I had done, checked everything out. They sat on my bed and finally told me what they urgently needed to say. Barbara, everyone at school is laughing at you. They're mocking you for reading tarot cards. That was it. They urgently needed to tell me that people were gossiping about me in a group chat because of my tarot readings. I didn't even feel angry. I just thought to myself, wow, Daphne, how naive of you. Why? Because I realized I let pity open the door. Compassion makes you lucid. Pity and sympathy cloud your judgment. That person told me, I need to talk to you. Not, I need your help. I'm in trouble. I'm desperate. But my old mindset, trained to feel pity, heard something completely different. I thought, this person needs me. If I don't help, something terrible will happen. In reality, all they needed was to gossip about what people were saying in a group chat. So pity and sympathy will cloud your vision. They open the door to illusions, to things that aren't real, that manipulate and convince you of a false narrative. Compassion, healthy empathy will keep you spiritually sharp. It helps you discern if the situation truly calls for help and how you can assist in a way that doesn't drain or mislead you. The last situation that's going to tangle up your life, not in terms of importance, as I've mentioned before, but the last one we'll discuss in this video is hatred and anger. Emotions are incredibly important and they need to be expressed. We need to let our emotions out. Are you angry? Punch a pillow. You need to react. Let that energy out. Don't bottle it up. If you need to speak up, if you need to take a stand, that's fine. Do it. Express yourself. But anger should not become your daily tool for taking action. You know those people, and I've mentioned this before on one of my radio shows, who use anger for everything, even to return a vacuum cleaner at a store like Best Buy. They haven't learned how to operate from a place of joy. Like, great, I'm going to do this thing. No, they only know how to act when they're enraged. Because here, we're talking about anger in the sense of rebellion. You only act when you're revolted. So let's say you just bought a vacuum and it doesn't work. You get frustrated, angry, and suddenly it feels like everything is going wrong for you. You start thinking this brand is terrible. Nothing ever works for me. You call customer service and they make you even more frustrated. The anger builds. Then you grab the receipt, storm off to the store to exchange the vacuum, furious. Because if you're not revolted by the brand, if you're not fuming at the person who sold it to you, if you're not indignant, you can't seem to get anything done. Notice that you stay passive until something sparks your anger. But if it's a dear friend or family member who needs help returning a vacuum, suddenly it's different. They say, I really need help exchanging this. And you're like, no problem, I've got you. And you go to help them, happy to do so. Think about it. You gladly take that giant vacuum cleaner, throw it in the back seat of your car, head over to the store, stand in line if you need to, and swap it out. No problem, right? You did it all to see the smile on your friend's face. Maybe it was for a birthday present or just because you wanted to help even though you didn't have money. The best you could do was lend a hand and look at the energy you carried into that situation. You helped out your friend with good vibes. You waited in line to buy a ticket for them with joy. But when it comes to yourself, you act out of anger. So yes, revolt, hatred, and anger are emotions we sometimes need to release when something deeply upsets us. But let it pass. Let it come and go. Don't let anger, revolt, or hatred become your daily motivation. It's like those people who say, I'm going to work harder today out of spite. No, don't. It's just like sadness or grief. Let it come and then let it go. Emotions should flow through you without attachment. You shouldn't use sadness or anger as the foundation on which to build your life. I focus on anger here because it's easier to spot since we often use it to motivate ourselves. But many people also cling to sadness, using it to create music or art. They hold on to that sadness because they don't feel creative when they're happy. That's a common case as well. But the point of this video is to highlight these 5 things for you to stop doing, or at least minimize. And once you do, you'll notice how your life untangles itself, both energetically and psychologically. You'll feel lighter, more clear-headed, which is the ultimate goal of Yellow Door, bring you clarity and lucidity. Thank you all for watching the video about the 5 things you should stop doing right now to get your life back on track. If you found this content helpful, please share it with friends and family. The more people who know about these tips, the more we can transform our lives together. Remember, change starts with awareness and action. See you next time.